Miss Universe podcast.
Where do we go from here? Where do we go from here?
Miss Universe podcast.
Where do we go from here? Where do we go from here?
Miss Universe podcast.
Hello and welcome to Emma's podcast. In today's oh my goodness, I cannot even speak. That's not good. That's not good. So, talking about setting up our boundaries, and I talk more on Monday, and I share a story actually on how to deal with what's going on at work around the world. It's a time of trials and tribulation. This is what it is. And we have to learn to really adapt, becoming more flexible, understand that we might need to unplug from social media world, refocus on our goals and on what we want in our lives, not being bombarded with madness. It's interesting, horrifying at some level, interesting at other levels. But we really need to look at what is best for our own self, what is best for our family. How can we continue to really show the life of thousand we have, really show what we want to show in this world while everything looks like we're in a rinse cycle of a washing machine. It is a world of incredible opportunities, but also incredible, I would say, momentum that we can take advantage of. One of the biggest things we have to remind ourselves is what are our goals? What do we want in life? Because so many things happen that we have to really embrace on our great focus. What do we want? I'm thinking about the goals we set at the beginning of the year, and most people do that. And what do we feel we should be accomplishing in that time frame? I understand of uncertainty. We're living in a life of uncertainty. Things are moving, changing. It's quite interesting that things can really bring the changes we are looking for, and it is interesting to see what's being unveiled. Behavior are changing. Now, how do we work with behavior? It's already a challenge when you're working with individuals that are a little bit more harder to work with. And how can we keep those behavior within our little checklist? Looking at the prospect of uncertainty can scare people because we like certainty. We like to have something that is tangible, something that bring us to that beautiful place. And how do we do that? How do we embrace that world of beauty? How can we be where we need to be? And really continue to move forward. Sometimes it's good to stand still, stay grounded. But the stand still option we've got is to see where the chips are going to fall. We can react, we can overreact, but is it going to help us? Is it going to provide us with what we need? I found quite interesting to see how we're evolving. I found it quite interesting to see how companies are changing their core values. Some are sticking to what they know best, and some don't. But it is interesting to really be in a place where we stay grounded. I think more is needed for us. As I said at the beginning, we need to unplug. We need to let that madness, that tornado, die down, slow down. We are being bombarded with so many things at the same time that our brain is having a hard time to really focus. And the question is, where are we going with all of this? Because people can bring those fears into our lives, and they will transfer those fears into others. So unplugging is the best things. In the morning, and I talked for, oh my God, so many times I say that it would be good if when you get up in the morning, instead of turning on the news, turning on social media, create a playlist and play it. So you can start a morning in a more peaceful manners. I used to do that a lot when I was listening different things in the morning before I go to the work and driving to work. It was so nice actually when you realize that, okay, I don't need to be overly excited. I just can relax and really be present. That I loved it. And it changed actually the shape and the rest of the week. It did such a great job actually to be able to embrace that. So I realized when I was starting my days by doing that and singing and being happy in a car driving on my way, I would have meetings with individuals that were harder to work with normally. But because of the energy that I shifted in the morning, it really changed the energy during the meeting. Those individuals were less painful to work with, less difficult. The mood was lighter. So we all emanate energies, and we have to think of what should we do? How can we get this done? I explained the story of standing your ground, because for me, standing your ground is not automatically to want to respond to people in an aggressive way. Sometimes it's taking the time to sit back, take a step back, and realizing that, is it exactly what I want to do? Is it something I want to respond? Is it worth it? Making the distinction of what works and doesn't work, because a lot of people don't understand that either. People have a tendency to react immediately. Read between the lines, read the energy of the room, read the person, and start to see their patterns, their behavior. When you realize how people works, then you adapt to those individuals. Also, if somebody is too confrontational, then you know how their behavior is going to start. Then you can stop it and redirect it. It takes time and practice to do that, but it is worth it to do it actually, more than you ever think you would. And I have done that many, many times with individuals who have been unpleasant to work with. When you know how people works, adapt. Not kissing the ring. Adapt and change the flow. So when they want, maybe somebody wants to becoming more difficult, more confrontational, then you can redirect them. And you don't have to deal with that. People will engage with their monkey and their circus. Like I said before, like I said in a previous podcast, on Monday podcast, people behaviors are who they are. You can try to change, you can try to modify them, but when they don't want to change, what you do is being able to redirect them. You don't have to respond. You can redirect, or I would say not responding to their behavior helps a lot, because you do not put energy into the fire. You do not push yourself there and be sucked in. I don't do much confrontation because I don't have time for that. I'm not interested. I'm at the point in my life, I think a lot of people, as you aging, you have people who will never stop. But you're on your journey of awareness, of wisdom, and you're realizing how much you could waste as energy when people are gonna play with that. But when you stop to play, you're not interesting. People that loves their drama will find somebody they can trigger. If you don't respond to them, then you're gonna get bored and they're gonna go away. They're gonna go and find somebody else's because you don't want to play with them and they're not gonna be happy. Some people don't appreciate it because they feel rejected. That's the problem. When people start to feel rejected, off you go. Like I said, your behavior will surprise others when you are not predictable. If you're predictable and every time something happens, you walk straight into that trap, that's their pattern. But when people assume you're going to go and fight and going to do this and you don't react, and you do something completely left or right, whatever you want to do, then people are surprised. And that's what is so interesting. And for someone who is doing this, not all the time, but I have set now boundaries for what I'm going to be able to tolerate from people. Some are good, but some are like, nope, not interested, not my monkey, not my circus, have a nice day, because I could care less. This is about how I feel. It surprised people because it's not a behavior they're used to. But do I want to acknowledge that? No, because I'm not interested. I'm not interested of that situation. Your peace of mind, your energy is precious, and you should not let anyone decide otherwise. So for me, when I'm looking at how can I work with others, is to read the room, it's to read the people, it's to see the red flag, it's to understand how they function and how they don't function. Learning from them, and it's anybody from the top to any coworker, it doesn't matter. It's understanding of how everybody works. We all work a different way. And adapt, becoming flexible, a chameleon, so you're able to communicate properly without wasting your time. And sometimes it's a little harder, trust me. I was with somebody, and instead of putting a very simple example that really got me actually was going somewhere with someone, and I didn't want to drop them off in the front of the door. I wanted to go with them because we were supposed to go with it. And I made a mistake. I should have turned where I wanted to turn. And I listened to that person, and he did this, exactly what I was saying. And I'm like, no, I'm not going to stay there. I'm coming inside. He went and disappeared in his merry way. I parked the car. I wasn't happy about it because I had to go over there, try to find him. And I'm like, this is not what we're doing. I said, tomorrow, we got to go back tomorrow. You and I gonna be parking the car and we're gonna walk over there and we'll be it. So it was just like, and he saw the frustration in me because I'm like, ugh! And I did that actually in the car. I'm like, no, let's follow a process that works. However, it's adapting and having people understanding, because sometimes the hardest part is people like to work a certain way. So again, learn it from experience of a lifetime on that as well. I'm moving my microphone, so there you're gonna hear me at a different tone. That could be maybe a little bit irritating, but it's like my microphone's playing games, and the harm that I have is going down, which I need to adjust actually to have it stop to move. So that will help. So sorry about that. I can see it when I'm recording. But it's very interesting when you're looking at pattern and behavior, how you can introduce things as well. So I have learned, and mastering it actually right now, is when you're dealing with certain individuals, you have to bring things not as a fact, but as a question. Should we go this way? What do you think? Could we go that way? Could we resolve this way? Should it be a good idea? Not, we need to do this, and that, even if you know it, because it will end up the way you're saying. It's introducing in a manners that doesn't seems to them, you're telling them how it's going to play out, but a suggestions works great as well as a result. Do you think we could do that? Do you think is it possible to do this and that? So we have to look at how do we approach situation with different people. And I know sometimes it's irritating and tiring because you're like, really? So I have to adapt myself. Well, sometimes we have to do what we got to do to adapt ourselves, which is a good exercise as well at the end of the day, because the more you adapt, the better it is. The more you're capable to become flexible, it is a leg up for you and in the life we're living in, because you never know what job you're going to have by tomorrow morning. You may be going to be working with different people and have different state of mind. And by doing this, you're adapting and becoming more all around mindful about the people. It doesn't mean you're a carpet. It doesn't mean you're not gonna be able to get the result is necessary to have. But the way we present things, not sometimes, and that's difficult because that was difficult for me at the beginning, because I'm like, okay, we're gonna do this, and that. When we're too analytic, sometimes you have to use the more social side of us. So that's something when we're talking about communication, is how do we communicate? We suck at it. Most people suck at it, except if you're somebody who likes to do nothing around and will manipulate everybody else to do their job. We all have that guy who talks a lot but don't do much, or is not capable to do it, but has mastered the way to communicate. Then that helps us in a way we're doing. Now, communication is great, but reading the people, I believe, is extremely important, because again, I'm going to talk about those patterns, about how people act, how they react. Read the room, read the text, read the email, decipher. That will give you the leg up as well. So you have to look at it and really ensure that at the end of the day, it is essential and crucial that when you are dealing with people, you embrace that opportunity to really get the word across, but it depends on the delivery. And I learned to be flexible, even if sometimes I'm like, what the crap, I would rather say this, and that, but you don't, because you have to ensure the way you're delivering, it doesn't, I would say, create a warrior or a wall, even though if you have the solution to work in better harmony. Now, again, as I said, we're not carpets. We're not people who are going to be, oh my God, yes, your highness. No, that had nothing to do with it. It has to do of the way we're setting ourselves up. And I know right now what you're seeing in TV across the world, you got people who are more direct, who are pretty much abrasive on some of the stuff. And it's like, okay, I could do that very well, but remember that it is easier to attract bees, we said, or bears with honey than vinegar. Either way. So be mindful on how you are communicating, but also read the room. You have to read the room. If you don't read the people, you're gonna butt head. It doesn't matter if you're not best friend with those individuals, but if you have to work with them, read the room and see how you can approach them by modifying the way you deliver your messages. Yes, I know you're going to say, well, it's always me doing it. That's okay, because you know what? It's a skill set you are mastering, which means in the long run, you're going to be able to work with anyone because you master that skill set. The individuals who doesn't want to budge, who are always the way they are and don't want to make one effort, you do realize they are actually closing the door for themselves to be able to continue to quote unquote evolve and work with other people. They will have greater difficulties to be able to move to different positions due to their lack of communications. Those skill sets you're learning and we're all mastering right now are so important because this is part of your little toolbox to not only land better jobs, maybe start your own business, do things that are really going to elevate you to the next level. Think about that. That was our podcast for today. I know, it's interesting, isn't it? I started with one thing and then now I'm talking about this. It's so interesting what the universe wants me to talk about when I'm doing those podcasts. So, all my love, guys, and I will talk to you later. Bye now.
Where do we go from here?
Emma's Universe Podcast.
Where do we go from here? Where do we go from here? Where do we go from here?
Emma's Universe Podcast. Emma's Universe Podcast.